Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Coda if you don't know me, and if you do know me, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a different video. I really hope it's not too windy outside, but for the past couple of days, really almost weeks now, I feel really called to kind of talk about a certain thing. I hear voices. Oh, my dad's on the phone upstairs. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know what this is going to be called, but I recently turned 21. I turned 21 on July 9th, and I feel like for a long time, I always felt like I knew who I was and the kind of person I was and the things that I liked. But I feel like as I've grown older, I am having more and more trouble navigating what being myself actually means. So I would say that started like maybe about 4 years ago. Damn. We're in 2024. I was saying 2 years ago thinking it's 2022. Anyways, about 4 years ago during COVID, I feel like that's when I really had the beginning of some sort of awakening and detaching myself from things that I thought made me who I am, when a lot of those things were not things that maybe I truly valued or believed, but more so things that I was just adopting from other people or adopting from the way that I grew up and the things that I knew growing up, that it blurred the lines of things that were actually me and that actually made me versus things that I was taught growing up. So I think that is troubling sometimes when it comes to my identity, especially as a Black woman. I would say that this really started, I grew up in the church, so I would say that this really started growing up in the church because not only, well, at least in my experience, because I don't want to say all churches are like this because that's just not true. But in my experience, there were a lot of things that were just pushed onto me, and generally I didn't feel like the churchgoers wanted me to be myself in a sense. There were multiple occasions where there were just things that were shared or things that people just said to me directly or indirectly that just rubbed me the wrong way. And for you to claim yourself as a God loving and God fearing person, I would not think that this is how you would treat people, especially the youth of the church when they're in their most prominent years of developing themselves and understanding their beliefs or why they believe certain things. And so I think that for a while from there, once COVID hit, I stopped going to church because it was COVID and we watched it online, and I continued to watch it online, and I detached from having more of a church relationship to trying to have a relationship with God himself, because I realized that those were not synonymous and they were different things and they meant different things to me. So a couple of weeks ago, actually, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, I went to church for the first time in 4 years, and it was great. And I remembered all the things that I loved about going to church. And I don't know if it's because I'm older now or... Y'all. There was literally a chipmunk. It moved so fast, it scared the life out of me. Oh my gosh. Where's this little... Okay, this is genuine fear now. Okay. We're gonna chill. We're chill. We're outside. Anyways, as I was saying, I don't know if it's because I'm older now. I'm just gonna have to be like this for a second because I'm a little concerned about my environment. I don't know if it's because I've grown up and now I'm more resilient to some things that people say or what it is, but when I went back to church, it felt like, oh, this is how I should feel. This is how it should feel. It should not feel like it did when I was going all those years growing up. But honestly, church itself is also a bigger topic, and that's not really what I wanted to focus on. But I feel like that gives you a lot of background for this topic. So I wanted to talk about self-censorship as a Black woman. This makes me sad. A couple days ago, I was writing in my journal, about self-censorship and how I learned at a very young age to filter myself or just not speak or not be seen, or seen and not heard. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it made me really emotional because I wonder like how many things I would have done or felt more confidence in if I wasn't censoring myself, or how many things that I would have realized that I actually loved and enjoyed if I wasn't censoring myself. I feel like what I'm saying is a lot of gibberish, so I actually wrote down some notes to help me because I tend to go on tangents. I was going to stop recording this and start recording it again. But then I thought about the topic I'm talking about, and if I'm talking about censorship, then this video should not be cut or edited in a certain way, or re-recorded if I don't like how it's coming out, because that's not really the point of this video. So yeah, I grew up in church and I really liked going to church at a certain point, and then as I got older and started to express myself more, or just like be more of my own person and more outspoken, I felt like that also changed my relationship with the church, because as I became more outspoken, people also became more critical. So it didn't make me want to be generally myself, and COVID kind of happened at a time where I didn't want to go to school, and I was begging my mom to let me do online school. And at the time that everything kind of happened, like I was going through this phase where I just didn't want other people to perceive me fully or just like get to know me. I didn't want to be around people. I was like, I know what I'm good at. I'm good at school. I'm good at my hobbies. I just want to do these and like go about my business. Like I don't need to be around a lot of other people and whatever. And I think that drove me to isolation as a solution for most things, which followed into a lot of my past friendships. Well, not a lot, but there are a couple of friendships that I can say like off the top of my head where isolation was my solution. And I mean, now I don't do that, but I understood why I did then, when I generally felt so censored in all other aspects of my life that I wasn't open to talking about anything, like even if you would give me the opportunity, because I'm just so used to it not being that way. Another thing that I was watching a YouTube video about this girl who was talking about like why she didn't want to go to law school and like her relationship with law school and whatever. And less or more what she was saying is like being told that she would be a good lawyer when she was growing up. She reflected on that and realized that a lot of that were not compliments, or they were backhanded compliments, and a lot of what people were really trying to tell her was that you're argumentative, or you're like sassy, or you're like bratty, like that negative connotation about younger Black girls, that they are lesser than, or that they are more problematic, and that being in law would be good because we like to cause problems. And that's that kind of thing that I got from that, which is interesting, because I think that that's also not fully why I didn't want to go to law school, but part of why I didn't want to become a lawyer. I also felt like that's also a field where I'd have to very much censor myself. And that just didn't align with myself. I wouldn't want to have to change myself for my career. Not saying that lawyers change themselves, but you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to feel like, oh, I can't do this because, you know, I'm doing this and that looks a certain way. Because then it feels like, what am I doing that for? I mean, there's a professionalism aspect to it to an extent, I'm sure. I also wrote a couple of papers about this, and just generally Black women in general. I'm very into philosophy, like Black feminist thought and political thought. I'm a political science major, basically. My major is politics and governance, but less or more it's political science, and I minor in criminology, so a lot of my research and my papers have to do with that. And the more that I started to research that, I was like, law is not for me. Like a lot of this is just taking from what other people were telling me and thinking that this was gonna make up this like poster child, or like someone that people would be like, oh yeah, like she's, she's doing her thing. Because I mean, who doesn't like to be admired? Like, let's be real. But yeah, as I grew older, I realized that those actually weren't things that I liked. And again, that kind of goes back into like that whole finding my identity and trying to unlearn things and differentiate what is actually me versus what is this me that I've kind of taken from bits and pieces of what I think I should be. And I think that now part of learning myself is relearning a lot of the things that I enjoyed when I was younger. So when I was younger, I really liked to paint. You guys have seen me paint on this channel multiple times. I don't think I'm a great painter, but like it's something that I love, and I know that I like art, and I like playing with colors, and I like making things. Those are things that I like. Music, another thing that I like. And then trying to let go of other things that I thought I was supposed to like. So for me, I liked running track, and I liked playing basketball, but I never wanted to like play basketball or like run track. Like I was doing it because I knew I was good at it. Everybody else said, oh yeah, you should be doing this, whatever. So I just done it. You know what I mean? But yeah, things like that. And then as I moved out to high school, I censored myself again, especially in high school. Like I really did not want to like make so much noise. Like my older brother went to my high school, and he was like in high school movies, like when you see like the most popular kid in school, that was basically my brother. And like everybody loved him. Like he was that guy at school that everybody just loved. Or if they didn't love him, like they loved him, but they hated that they loved him. So it was that kind of thing. And so growing up like that, I guess, I was always referred to as a sister, and I don't think that bothered me or anything, but I do think that made me like make myself a little bit smaller in a sense. And that finding my identity in high school was harder because most people were like, oh, like that's Dallas' sister, like da-da-da. That's why I ran track. That's why I played basketball. Like a lot of those things. And they were still things that I enjoyed, but I probably wouldn't have gone to that extent if it weren't for my brother, which I don't think that's positive or negative. It's just like I'm thinking back to it and being like, oh, like I wonder how things would have turned out this way, or if, whatever you think about alternate outcomes. And then when high school stopped, I always wanted to make YouTube videos, but I never did. And I think part of that was also being censored or not feeling like my, what I have to say is something worthy of sharing or something worthy to be listened to. But after high school, once COVID started, not after high school. So in grade 10, I really started with my YouTube channel during COVID, and I started filming and uploading. And I think that part of that was because, okay, we're locked in the house. I'm not seeing nobody. I haven't seen nobody from school. So like, who cares? Like, I don't see anybody. And it makes me kind of sad that like it took me like hoping that nobody would know, or like making myself smaller for me to push myself to do something that I wanted to do for years. But it doesn't matter. The point is that we're here. But yeah, so as I started promoting myself and like posting my YouTube channel, I think it took me a year before I really started promoting my YouTube channel, or like it was a while. Maybe it wasn't fully a year, but it was a while. And but I used to always film in class. Like I would make vlogs with my friends. Like I always had a camera. My phone was out. Like not my phone, like being on my phone, but like I was always recording things. I always had a camera. There were just certain things that I just liked. I would always talk like I'm vlogging. Like there's no camera around. Like we're talking to the vlog, but there's nobody around. But yeah, there were things that I loved. So I'm glad that I was pushed to do it at some point. And as I started to do that, I noticed that, sorry, I really hate the buzzing noise in my ear, like that really grinds my gears. Like, you have no idea. Anyways, as I was saying, the more I started to promote myself and get consistent, and my channel started to it started to grow a little bit, and more people were watching like my vinyl collection. I was really excited about that, because I was like, oh my gosh, like people think I have good music taste, like they like my videos, they like my personality. It just made me feel really good. And I had like a couple people that I went to high school with who I didn't really speak with, that later on came up to me or like messaged me or whatever, contacted me telling me that they admired what I do, and like, or like just admiring you from a distance and admiring the work that you're doing and pushing out. So seeing that a lot of my work wasn't going unnoticed, I think was also helpful for me to realize, like, okay, like it's not just me who, other people can see my potential. And so if other people can, then why can't I? I do think that's very different now, though. Like, I understand that I'm capable of anything that I want to accomplish. But I think that putting things into different perspectives, and like, also you admire people. I admire people constantly. Like, it's part of human nature. Like, I believe that we are made to love and to admire things. And like, our whole frequency that we should be operating on is love. So when you admire other people, I think that when you switch it, like, I admire how many people in a day, like, but it's so hard for me to believe. Okay, is this man coming with a tractor? I think he's cutting the grass. I live by a schoolyard, so anyway, what was I even saying? Yeah, when you realize how often you admire people, it makes it easier to believe that you're also being admired as well. And I think that those from strangers also just meant a lot more to me, because it's like, you owe me nothing, you don't know me, or even if you know me from a distance. Like, we're not bati and bench, you know what I mean? So for you to admire me, or even have the courage to tell me that these are things that you admire, like, oh, I see what you're doing, or oh, I like this, or I like that, I watched this and I thought, whatever, just sharing that, it's like, wow, like, you must really mean that. Like, I don't know, for some reason, for so long, it took a while for me to like realize that people I'm close to and people that I love are not lying to me when they compliment me. Because for a while, I think I just thought, like, okay, you're my mom, you have to say that you like my YouTube videos, like, you have to say this and that or whatever. And actually just giving myself my flowers, instead of just only accepting that when everybody else also accepts that. And yeah, I've always been an overachiever, especially in school and stuff. And I think that being an overachiever and it just being like normal, and not really being, I mean, I've been congratulated and like, I'm proud of you and this and that, but I never really felt like extraordinary in my grades, although they are amazing. I've been a straight A student. Like, my GPA is insane. Like, I should be bragging to myself about my accomplishments. I should be more like firm and confident because of my accomplishments. But I think that also being a Black woman, like, I'm already supposed to be 10 times better, that when I hit the mark, like, I'm not even phased. Like, it's like, oh yeah, like, this is baby food. So I wish that, I think that this is also similar with a lot of my Black friends, especially the ones who are in school, feeling similar emotions. I had the most transformative experience in university in my second year. I had a criminology professor, a Black woman, Black Caribbean woman, which is, there's a difference for sure. And having her as an inspiration, and like, she, that woman, like, I am so impressed and like in awe of her and everything that she has accomplished, and just her mind and how it works, and like everything that she would talk about in class, she would have me in like a trance. Like, I'm so interested in everything that you have to say. Lay it out for me, please. And the way that I just admired her and looked up to her so much, I realized that in that moment I wanted to be a professor. Especially because she was teaching it through a lens of her own experiences as a Black woman in academia. And yeah, I think that she helped me a lot to break out of my shell and not be censored, because she was unapologetically herself. Like, from day one, she walked in that classroom and was like, okay, this, and this. Literally. And that was our first class. And from there, I was like, oh yeah, I like you. I like you. So I'm really grateful to have that experience. I feel like because I go to a commuter school, so like, people live on campus. I don't live on campus. I'm a part of the commuting team, and I would say probably about 80% of the students at my school also commute. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to make those connections or feel like I'm having the true university experience. I don't feel that anymore, because I feel like in my third year, so this past school year, I really was able to have that, and I got more involved and out of my shell. And I really attribute that to the professor I had in second year. She really, she changed a lot of things for me. But yeah, it's kind of hard to feel seen generally, and also going to a predominantly white institution, it's even harder to see that. Moving on, I briefly touched on this already, but I was just saying, like, I was feeling in my own way by being censored or censoring myself, because there were a lot of things that I didn't say or didn't do because I didn't want to be perceived a certain way, or I didn't want to be like, oh dang, like, why did I do that? Or like, I would just overthink everything that I would do, because I know that my Blackness comes before my womanhood, and because of that, I don't get a lot of the benefits that maybe white women may have, or like the patience that people would have with me. So I a lot of times would not reach out maybe when I should have, or I would not have done certain things when I should have, or should have strived for, because of that, which is really sad. I don't like that. Moving on, I think that my isolation and censorship in my youth is now hard to navigate as I'm getting older, because I'm 21 now, and when I turned 20, like, I didn't feel like, oh, like, I'm an adult, like, I'm 20, I just felt like, okay, like, I'm just not a teenager, but like, I'm in my young and turnt era or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't really feel like an adult. And then on my 21st birthday, like, I was like, wow, like, I'm actually in my 20s. Like, before I was just 20, but now I'm in my 20s. And I was thinking back about a lot of things of how I had imagined my life when I was younger, when I turned 20 or when I turned 21. Although a lot of those things unrealistic, it made me think about, like, who I was as a child and then who I am now. And I cried, because younger me, she's complex, but I felt like I was super outgoing for a while, and then something shifted and I stopped being outgoing. And now as I'm getting older, I'm I'm becoming more outgoing again and feeling more like myself again. I feel like just growing up is just becoming your baby self again. Where you didn't care about things, or you did care about things, but you didn't care about things in the way that you do now, because you didn't understand everything else that was going on. And ignorance is bliss. And now as I get older, like, I work 2 jobs, and at my job, like my other job, my part-time job is one that I've had since for the last 4 years. And it still feels like my high school job. Like, I feel like, oh yeah, just, do my quick little 5-hour shift, like do my quick little 8-hour. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm grown because I've been here for so long. And generally a lot of things about my life, like working wise and like school wise, it's been the same. I've maintained the same 2 jobs for years. And so when I now switch to my day job, which is in an office, I think that my coworkers have even told me that I come off really quiet and like reserved, which is strange because I'm not that way. I just think it's maybe I don't feel like an adult. So like it feels like, what am I doing at an office? Like, what am I doing here? Like, it just feels like I'm just doing like a little side quest. Like, I'm so unserious. No, but seriously, it doesn't feel like I'm an adult. But I think it's just, growing up is weird. And I guess I'm not ever going to feel like an adult. I'm just going to feel like myself. And sometimes I get tripped up over labels or like titles of things. And it makes it harder for me to understand things that are going on. But yeah, younger me would have been interested that this is who I am now. But I think that's pretty cool. I think younger me would like me. I think we'd get along really well, actually. I think we would. Another thing that I noted down here was, this kind of ties into like the fear of adulthood part, but like being an adult and knowing that you're in control. I mean, I've always been in control of my life to an extent, but knowing that I'm really the driving force of my future is the most daunting thing and terrifying, and like it makes me nauseous. Like I'm responsible for if I can keep a roof over my head. I'm responsible to like feed myself. I mean, these are things that I've been doing for years, but you know what I'm saying. The point is that I think that when I was younger, when I didn't have control over situations, I thought that like growing up would be like, okay, well now I can control this and control my circumstances, which is partly true, but not fully. There's still a lot of things that I can't control, where I thought that when I was younger, oh, when I'm an adult, I can fix this, or this would be a quick fix. And even now, like, I feel like I don't want to be in control. Like, I don't want to be in control, because that means that if anything goes wrong, that this is all my fault. I do think that it is damaging for me to jump straight to the negative, which is something that I've done for many years, especially growing up, and something that I'm trying not to do anymore. But for me, like, to me, it doesn't feel like I'm jumping to the worst. It just seems like, okay, unless everything goes perfect, which most things don't, like, I'm just trying to be realistic. But I think that me justifying that as realistic is also just like warped my perception of what's realistic and what I believe can happen. So control is scary, but I'm learning to like being in control. But I think it's, for some reason, it just feels like this overwhelming amount of like responsibility. Like, as soon as I turned 19, like, everything just stopped being chill, and like nothing was ever chill again. I don't know. I guess I'm changing too and learning myself too, because sometimes I have moments where I'm like, something happens or I react in a way where I'm like, oh, what is this feeling? Why did I do that, or why did I feel this way? And I think that the more reflecting and journaling and talking to myself and talking to a camera that I do, I learn little bits and pieces of myself that eventually make up the puzzle that is me. Yeah. Oh my gosh, these bugs, guys. I'm going to wrap up this video real soon, because I'm getting too jumpy out here. I'm about to get myself whiplash. But the last thing that I wanted to say is that the main point of this, and trying not to censor myself and be loud and take up space more, is that I want to care about things again. I think that at a certain point, not that I didn't care about things, but things just got so overwhelming that it was too overwhelming for me to care about it. I just couldn't think about every single thing all the time. But I want to care about things again so that I can be outgoing and excited about things again and feel like myself again. Because when I'm excited and looking forward to things, and when I'm happy and when I'm positive, that's when I feel like myself. But it feels like I've been having less and less of those days. But yeah, I don't really know if there's a closing for this video. I guess we can call this we're gonna try that again. I guess we can call this navigating my 20s. Yeah, self-censorship and finding your identity. There's so many other things that we talked about in this video. I hope that eventually, as I continue to do these, because I think this is not only healing for me, but maybe this will be helpful for other people or insightful for other people or whatever. You take what you want to take from it. But I think this is beneficial for me. This was helpful. Sometimes I just write everything down, but saying it out loud makes it real and makes it exist here instead of just in here. So I look forward to doing more of these. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, comment, subscribe if you want. See you next time. Peace out, homies. Bye. See ya. 33 minutes. Dang.